is just making my mouth water. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. We're going to be doing a really great show today on the art of tea. I have Lady Kelly, who is the part owner of La Dolce Bakery in Aiken, South Carolina, is not only my guest, but a tea expert and just a delight. So we're really gonna have a lot of fun today. We're gonna be learning about the art of tea, and she is also gonna show us two really delicious sweet treats that are wonderful to serve with tea. The first is a Victoria jam cake. This is a dense, lemony cake. It has a jam filling, and it's beautiful with the tea. And then a cream scone. You are gonna think you're in England, and you're gonna find out that they're really not that hard to make. We're also going to do a great giveaway. So you want to stick around today to find out how to enter. And I'm ready to meet Lady Kelly and get started on the art of tea. Lady Kelly, I'm so happy to have you today.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're just thrilled. And you know, when I went over to La Dolce in Aiken, at your invitation to come have tea, and I think you had heard that I was a tea lover, and I walked in and you had your big hat on and it was Lady Kelly, and we had kind of done some research, and I thought, I wonder why she's Lady Kelly. I wonder if she's part of royalty or something. So tell us a little bit about the title Lady Kelly and a little bit about La Dolce.
Okay, well, the title Lady is actually a legal title in the UK. My husband is a descendant from Scotland, and his grandfather traced their family back, and while we lived in England for a few years, we actually purchased some property near where he's from, which is Cullen, Scotland. And with the purchase of property as an owner, you automatically have the titles of Laird and Lady in Scotland and Lord or Lady in England.
Oh,
so my
wow.
husband's the Laird and I'm the Lady.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we, you know, in the day that we came, just all the beautiful things that you had at the bakery and in the tea room, why don't we start today with a little bit about steeping tea, because that was one of the main things that I learned that day.
Right, right. The proper way to steep tea depends on what tea you're having. So different teas should be steeped at different temperatures of water, which is why I love the electric thermostatically controlled teapots, and different lengths of time. So the tea that I'm going to steep right now is actually Belgian chocolate Rooibos.
Ooh.
So it's an herbal tea, a Rooibos, which is translated as the red bush, which is the tea of Africa, and it has tiny little pieces of Belgian chocolate in it.
Oh my. I mean, you can just smell the chocolate. This is what's so fascinating about this to me.
And I love to use a timer because that just keeps me on track. So my timer for this particular tea is set for 3 minutes.
Well, and the day that I went, the tea that I had was served in one of these little pouches. So tell us about that.
Right. So there's several ways that you can properly make a cup of tea. What's important is to give the tea room to expand. When you're steeping tea, the tea leaves kind of twist and turn. It's called the agony of the leaves, and you need to give it room for that. So we have these DIY tea bags at La Dolce. You can make your own tea bags, so you just measure out, this is for a pot of tea.
Okay.
And you can see it's pretty big. When this steeps, it's probably going to be filled almost halfway.
Wow.
With the tea leaves. That's how much they're going to expand. We also have the strainers like I'm using in our La Dolce mug, and the smaller strainer if you have a smaller cup or a small top teapot. And then it's always great to have a good measuring spoon. So this end is for a pot of tea, this end's for a cup of tea.
Well, and when you're served your tea at La Dolce, the timer comes to the table.
Yes.
I just loved that.
Yes.
Was my favorite part. Of course, I'm using the microwave at home,
Ah.
but you know, the timer there. So.
Right. It's a way for us to teach a little bit more about the tea so that people get the right flavor, and then they enjoy their tea so much better when the flavor is right.
Well, what about your certification to be considered an expert in
Well, I'm actually
teas?
internationally certified as a tea master. From Jane Pettigrew of the UK Tea Council was my first certification that I got while I was in England, and then also the International Tea Education Institute. And the Tea Education Institute was definitely extremely intense. It's you learn a lot. You have to evaluate 100 different teas, learn about their cultivation, how they're processed, how you blend tea. It's a great course for anybody that really wants to learn about teas or open a tea room.
And how did the bakery come about as part of this?
Well, my daughter is a pastry chef, and she worked for about 15 years at various five-star restaurants and resorts, and she also is a custom wedding cake designer. So when I was moving back from England, during which time I collected over 80 sets of afternoon tea china with no plan.
Oh my gosh.
She said she thought she was ready to open a bakery, and would I like to be part of that?
Well, we want to learn more about this, so stick with us because we're going to go to a quick break. We're going to learn how to make a Victoria jam cake and learn a little bit more about this fascinating business. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining us, I'm with Lady Kelly from La Dolce Bakery in Aiken, South Carolina, and we've gone from being all dressed up to putting our aprons on because we're going to do the Victoria jam cake, which is a favorite at your bakery, at your tea room.
Yes.
All right, so give us the steps of this wonderful recipe.
Well, we already started by creaming the butter and sugar, and now I'm going to add the eggs one at a time.
All right.
And while I'm doing that, if you would mix the dry ingredients.
I want to start with this lemon peel. Oh my goodness, is this what makes this cake so delicious, is the fresh lemon peel?
That, and it just makes the flavor pop when you add the jam.
Oh wow. Well, the recipe said that you could use either strawberry or raspberry jam. So which one do you prefer?
My favorite's raspberry. I just love raspberry and lemon together.
Well, and that raspberry is kind of sweet tart.
Yes.
It really kind of works with that. And this is something that you serve in the tea room,
yes,
right?
This is one of our options for your dessert when you come for afternoon or high tea.
All right, are we ready to start adding this in?
Yes.
All right, so we'll do a couple of cups at a time. Now, when you come to the tea room, you've got all the different choices of teas to have, and I know that the day that I was there, of course, you were so personable with me, but actually all of the staff there was so knowledgeable on the tea. So they help, once you've matched up which one of the delicious bakery items that you want, they can also help you understand which tea would go best with what you've selected.
I train my staff to understand how to match the flavor profiles with the food. Particularly my tea sommelier, Tristan, is absolutely fabulous at suggesting just the right tea for whatever entree or dessert you choose.
Well, and you know, that's interesting that you say which one pairs the best with the food. We were having so much fun that day figuring out which of the teas would be great for, like, you know, to put with food and preparing food.
Right.
Like what you could poach a fish with, or what you could brine a chicken with.
Absolutely. Tea isn't just to drink. It's great as a culinary ingredient. To use the liquor of the tea to steam your seafood is great, depending on the tea you choose, or to use particularly Earl Grey, which I know is your favorite,
love it.
Mixed with any type of a chocolate item. It just gives it a great flavor.
All right, so this, you've prepared a little.
We have a small 6-inch pan because this is afternoon tea for 2, so we don't need a large cake.
And this is a dense batter.
Yes.
But that's correct,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it's a heavier cake.
All right, so this, I'll finish spreading this if you want to bring what you've done ahead forward so we can get the jam going on it.
So once we baked the cake, we cut it in half, and then we can add the raspberry jam in the center and just spread that around. Victoria jam cake, by the way, was one of Queen Victoria's favorite desserts, and afternoon tea began while Queen Victoria was reigning, and so that's where a lot of the items that you serve for afternoon tea kind of started.
Oh, wow. I'm actually watching that on PBS right now, Victoria.
Victoria, yeah.
Okay, so in serving this, like you said, just bite-sized pieces. I love the way that you display the different foods when they come to the table. All of your little tea setups. As a matter of fact, the day that I was there recently, you were having like a tea testing, and you had made the little tea sandwiches, and it was just elegant, really. So now this goes in a 350 degree oven. This is going to bake for about 20 minutes.
Yes.
And because it's, as you see, it's a kind of a light cake. All right, so we are going to finish stacking this, and then she's got a great technique that we'll work on during the break to decorate, because we're not going to ice the whole thing. But in Vera's Corner today, Lady Kelly is going to give us Tea 101. It's going to give you all of the definition of all of our favorite teas. And then we're also going to be talking about the great giveaway. She has been so generous with the giveaway today. So come back with us. We've got a little bit more to do, and we'll join you back in just a few minutes. What makes one tea different from another? Well, Lady Kelly McVean is a tea expert, and she's here to give us Tea 101 to let you know the difference between your favorite teas.
All types of tea come from the same plant, the Camellia sinensis. Whether they are white, green, oolong, or black depends on the processing. Different flavor profiles are caused by the growing conditions and geography. Black tea is one of the most common teas in the West. Black tea receives the most oxidation and is then dried, which gives it its unique brown and black leaves. Properly steeped black tea has a robust flavor. Green tea is another commonly steeped tea. Green tea is withered only slightly after being plucked. The oxidation process is stopped quickly by rapidly heating the leaves. Green teas tend to have a more subtle flavor. Oolong tea is allowed partial oxidation. The flavor of oolong teas is typically not as robust as blacks or as subtle as greens, and are often compared to the taste and aroma of fresh flowers or fresh fruit. White tea is the most delicate of all teas. They are appreciated for their subtlety, complexity, and natural sweetness. They are often hand processed using the youngest flush of the tea plant with no oxidation. Now go drink some tea.
Welcome back, everybody, and we really learned something about tea in Vera's Corner today.
Good.
Thank you for that. I love it when I have an expert in Vera's Corner. So, you know, and I'm such a tea lover myself that, you know, it's almost like our friendship is being developed over the fact that you really hit the nail on the head with this with me. But now we've also found another thing that we enjoy together, and that is baked goods. And in just a few minutes, another thing that's in common, we'll wait until the end to talk about. But now we're doing scones.
Right.
So this is a cream scone.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this recipe.
Well, this recipe is one I've had for years, and I was actually using it when we lived in England. I wasn't allowed to work there, so I did fundraisers for charities, and I would serve afternoon tea for my fundraisers, and they always sold out. And we did great raising money for the different charities. And I always kind of wondered why we did so well. But I think it was the Brits wanting to see if the American was going to fall on her face or not, serving afternoon tea.
That's right.
And these particular scones, this particular recipe, everyone told me it was the best scones they'd ever had. So I felt like that was a real pat on the back to have the Brits tell me that my scones were great.
Well, I've just added in the salt, the baking powder, and the sugar to the flour, and we're just mixing that around. And now I'm going to pass this off to you,
and we'll cut in
the butter. All right. So, what kind of scones do you serve at La Dolce?
We make all different flavors. We love to add fruits to it, chocolate to it. My personal favorite is blueberry scones, but it runs close to our raspberry scones.
So what you want to accomplish is almost like a little small pea size of the butter. So that looks perfect.
Yes.
All right, so now the reason this is a cream scone, because it has cream in it,
That's right.
So I'm going to add the cream to the eggs for you. And it's fun to have a partner when you're doing this kind of stuff, isn't it? And your daughter is so talented as a bakery chef.
She has about 15 years experience with 5-star restaurants and resorts. She also worked for a custom wedding cake designer. So she's got a lot of experience behind her in what she does, and it is truly her love.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now this is just being incorporated. You're almost doing more or less of a folding technique. Watch closely, everybody, because you know, Lady Kelly, I always say that our recipes are available at VeryVera.com. But she, like me, is getting ready to start mail ordering everything in her bakery, and we're actually announcing that today on the show. So her recipes won't be available, but her products will, which are completely amazing. All right, you want me to put a little flour on the counter? And one of the things I love to brag about is our Cambria countertops. You don't have to do anything. You just can work right on top of it. It's the best cutting board ever.
Oh, wow.
So that's about ready. And we're adding blueberries to this too.
Yes, let's add some blueberries. My favorite. Just mix those in.
Is this something that you could also mix with your hands?
Yes, I actually prefer to do that.
Well, why don't I get in there?
All right.
Let me see how that happens. All right, so tell us a little bit about some of the things that will be available online.
We will be having a variety of cakes and pies and cheesecakes as a start to our online expansion. All different flavors. We'll have an almond cake, a chocolate cake, an espresso cake. There's going to be a lot of varieties to pick from.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, we're going to have a little bit of work to do during the break. We're going to get this rolled out. We're using a 3-inch cutter.
Right.
We're going to brush it with a little bit of cream and sugar. And when we come back from the break, we're going to set up a beautiful tea party. Are we going to put on hats?
We are.
Oh, I can't wait. And we're going to also go over the giveaway, which is incredible. So come back with us in just a few minutes, and we'll be busy as a couple of little bees. Welcome back, everybody, and I am just delighted to be here with Lady Kelly. So you're serving us some tea, and what kind of tea?
This is orange blossom oolong tea. Ooh. There's actually no orange blossoms in it, but when it's processed, they throw in jasmine petals, and that gives it a little bit of a citrusy taste.
Oh my goodness. Do we do cheers?
Sure.
Tell us about the hats, Lady Kelly.
All right, my hat was specially designed for me from my milliners in England. And this is the family tartan. Our family name is McVeigh, and this is the family tartan. Your hat that I brought today actually met Queen Elizabeth while I lived in England. Unfortunately, I wasn't under it. A friend of mine was invited to Queen Elizabeth's annual garden party, and she chose my hat to wear with her.
I feel so stylish. Well, we've had quite a lot of fun today. It's just been great. And we actually started with the Victoria jam cake, which presented here. It's a beautiful, dense cake. It's got the, we made a nice thick batter with the lemon zest. It's got the jam in the middle. And the jams, you know, you said raspberry for this. You know, the Fresh Market always has a great variety of specialty jams. So that's where we did, and we just dusted the top of it with some powdered sugar. And then we went into the blueberry scones.
Right.
And may I?
Yes.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the presentation of this.
All right, so normally when you're having afternoon tea, you would start with the scone course, and the scones would normally be warm right out of the oven. You start with a little bit of the condiments, which today we have fresh lemon curd, raspberry jam, and clotted cream. And you just break off a small piece of your scone.
Break off a small piece.
I kind of went a little too small. And put a little bit of whatever condiments you want to use on it. And pop it into your mouth.
Oh my gosh. Well, and we finished during the break. We rolled out, got the dough mixed up. We rolled it out to about 3/4 inch thick, and then cut it with the 3-inch cutter. You spread a little bit of milk and sugar, and those just popped into the oven. Like you said, those are really great warm out of the oven. Tell us quickly about the tea sandwiches that you serve.
So our tea sandwiches that I selected for today, this is our oatmeal bread in a almost kind of like a crouton. You bake it in a muffin tin, and that makes it have that little bowl shape. And then I have the wheat bread with egg salad on it, and our dill bread with cucumber sandwiches.
Well, let's talk about the giveaway, Lady Kelly. I'm so excited that she's been generous enough to give us a great giveaway today. So we want you to like us on Facebook, like and share the post, Comment where you're watching because we're all over the place. And the giveaway today is a bakery and tea sampler, and this is introducing Lady Kelly's new mail order part of her business. She's been selling the teas online, but now the bakery products are available. And then we're going to do a tea lovers package as well, which will be a gift basket with all kinds of teas in it, some of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the show today. And honestly, it's just so educational, so delicious. You know, as I said, some of these teas you can use to actually bake with, to poach with, to brine with. Unbelievable. I'm just loving all of this, and I just want to thank you so much for being part of the show today. I wish you so much success with your mail order part of your business. And for the rest of you, I hope that you will come back and join us next week. We're going to be doing outrageous breakfast. I cannot wait. And as I always say on the VeryVera show, no matter what you do, Lady Kelly, do it in good taste, and come back and join us again next week.
To see what's cooking with the VeryVera Show, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.